Now, the Chicago Bears just brought in a guy that, in my opinion, could really work out to be an explosive playmaker in this Ben Johnson offense. And the player that I'm talking about is Rondale Moore, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals. And if you look at it, the Bears have probably already made their big splashes in free agency, but this signals that they might not be done adding to the receiver core. And I really like this visit. And the guy's an all-around offensive weapon all the way back from college. And kind of looking at him from a distance here, he's a former second-round pick and only 24. The guy's dynamic and explosive with the ball and has great abilities when he's healthy. He hasn't been healthy that much lately, but if you look at it with the NFL, speed, it absolutely kills, right? But so do yards after catch. And you're looking at a guy that during his 2021 Pro Day from Purdue, the guy clocked an unofficial 4.29 second time in the 40. And at the time, that put him among the NFL's 25 fastest players. Absolutely makes him an asset as both a pass catcher and ball carrier on motion plays. And we know who our head coach is. We know what kind of offense this is going to be. Now, the guy's not huge. He's 5'7", 181 pounds. But just think of a weapon like him in Ben Johnson's offense. Once again, I'm not saying this is a Pro Bowler. This is a potential number 3. But just another nice tool in Ben Johnson's toolbox. Kind of a Swiss Army knife type of guy. Absolutely great for gadget plays. So what I'm saying is that at the very least, he's a nice guy for situational plays. But at best, this guy's going to compete for the number 3 job for sure. And he was really coming on nicely for Arizona, once again, until the injury bug started striking. So this also signals another thing. I mean, if he's signed, I think this might be the end of the road for wide receiver Tyler Scott. He just hasn't quite lived up to his draft stock, and Rondale Moore kind of fits the same mold. So does Zacchaeus that we just signed, as Tyler Scott does. Granted, the coaching staff hasn't played Tyler Scott that much previously, but kind of word is from the Bears staff that he doesn't track the ball all that well. And I especially remember, I believe it was the Lions game, and Justin Fields threw a perfect pass right into his hands, and he missed it. He didn't track the ball well, and he also said that he changed up his step sequence and kind of mistimed it. There were just some technical issues with his game on that particular pass, and it seems like that's kind of working out to be the exception, not the exception, but the rule. So we'll see. I think at the very least, he's going to provide competition in camp. I don't think Tyler Scott is jettisoned out of Chicago, but I think this is going to be a really interesting training camp, bringing in this talent. Kind of back to Rondale. Injuries have been an issue once again, but he fits perfectly with this team's strategy, filling out this wide receiver room. We're looking at low risk, high reward. This player has big potential, in my opinion. And granted, he's been a little disappointing as a pro, and this is after he was a second rounder in the 2021 NFL draft. And the guy hasn't eclipsed more than 435 receiving yards in a season, only 3 career touchdowns, but still, a mad scientist like Ben Johnson, for sure he can revive a player with Rondale Moore's playmaking ability. And that ability is not, it's real. It is there. And I think he's regained his pre-injury explosiveness, and he's most likely going to come into town on a 1-year prove-it deal, just like Zacchaeus. And a little more detail on where he's coming from, who he is as a player. I always like to give a really broad view. And also, it's the offseason. We have time for this stuff. We're looking at he missed the whole 2024 season. He suffered a knee injury during a joint practice with the Dolphins in training camp. Reportedly healthy and ready to contribute right now. We're looking at Keenan Allen hitting free agency. No one's offered him a contract as far as I know, but the Bears have already begun the process of solidifying this receiving core. We've got DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and like I said, we also recently agreed to sign Alamade Zacchaeus. Tom Pelissero let us know that. I did a show on it just the other day, and he's going to be most likely on a 1-year prove-it deal as well. And I like bringing these guys in, these gadgety guys, these toolsy guys like Zacchaeus, and now most likely Rondale Moore. Bring them in on a lower cost, low risk, prove it deal. If you strike gold, then you've really got something. You've made a really good move. And he just was at the Minnesota Vikings facility visiting them. Now he's here in Chicago. We're looking at, for his career, he's caught 135 passes for 1,201 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that's in 33 career games. And I think what's more indicative about his potential in the NFL, if we kind of look back to the 2021 NFL draft, and he was actually one of the more favorite receivers of a lot of guys coming into the draft, and kind of looking at his career with the Boilermakers. We're looking at, he racked up as a freshman 114 catches, 1,258 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns, and he also added 21 carries for 213 yards on the ground and a pair of rushing scores. He was really dynamic in the Big Ten, and that's not an easy conference. And we're looking at him being a consensus All-American. He earned the Big Ten's top receiver honors while he was just balling out for the Boilermakers. So the guy, I understand, you're going to be like Sean, he's kind of been a bum. He's been hurt. He hasn't reached the heights that he should have as an NFL receiver, but I think he's absolutely coming here with a clean slate. I think it's going to be a nice thing to see a play caller like Ben Johnson be able to use him properly. And he's not a stranger to Chicago. I think this is interesting. I always like to add something different here. And actually, the Bears met with Rondale Moore ahead of the 2021 NFL draft. They attended his pro day. It went well, and they even had several Zoom calls with him. And this was a different front office, and it was a different regime pursuing him. But there's still some crossover among scouts or other front offices still employed with the Bears. I'm sure the Bears still have a book on him. And you better believe that Bears head coach Ben Johnson and others on his offensive coaching staff, they have notes on the guy. They know who he is. They know what kind of prospect he is. Once again, missed all of last year. That's unfortunate. But if the Bears decide to sign him for a 2025 contract, I think it's going to be a really nice move. Once again, at his 2021 pro day that the Bears were at, he did clock an unofficial 4.29 second 40 time. And also, he's versatile as a special teamer. The guy put that speed to use as a returner. He averaged 8.1 yards on 22 punt returns and 22.4 yards. That's a nice average on 13 kick returns. The guy's just coming off an injury. He's all ready to go. Once again, I don't think it is a Pro Bowl signing, but I just like these little moves that the Bears are doing after these big splashes in free agency. Just really bringing gadgety and toolsy guys with a lot of speed, guys that have a reputation for doing the dirty work as well. And we'll see where this number 3 receiver position for this team hashes out. It also actually brings drafting a wide receiver into the conversation as well. I mean, you're looking at a guy in the first round. I don't think we're going to do that like a guy like Golden. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. But with these second round picks, with this third round pick, a 5th and 6th round pick, this is a really deep receiver class, in my opinion. It's not like last year's. Pretty good one. You can get some talent, some guys that can develop in the latter rounds here, like day 3 picks. So you guys let me know what you think about Rondale Moore. I think he's a really good guy to bring in. I hope the Bears offer him a contract, and we'll talk soon. I will continue to be here with Bears news on the daily. See you guys. Bear down.